Nightfall has come and gone. I feel the sun smile on my face. Drive the darkness of doubt away. Let the light fill up your space. Come on, let's take a ride on the ocean tide. Endless horizons we will see. Relax and free your mind. Marvel at what you find. Countless adventures, 'cause we'll be coasting around. Yeah, coasting around. Oh, coasting around. Yeah, coasting around. Yeah. Feel the breeze by the ocean shore. Feel the waves crash on your feet. Looking out into mystery, wondering who and what we'll meet. So hear how the jet skis roar as we leave the shore. What destination shall it be? The great Australia, explore Tasmania. The little devil we may see. Coasting around, yeah, coasting around. Oh, coasting around, yeah, coasting around. Yeah. Many smiles with new friends along. Many laughs as days went on. Wish this trip could just carry on. Love to stay but can't for long. Our time here's at an end. It's been fun, my friends. Maybe one day we'll meet again. Across the waves we'll go. Can't do it on our own. It's an adventure on the sea. Coasting around, yeah. Coasting around, coasting around, coasting around. Coasting around, yeah. Coasting around, yeah. Coasting around, yeah. Coasting around.
Well, welcome everybody to the this latest installment in our Coast Around Ask Us Anything. My name is Matt Gregg. I am from Lifeline Darling Downs, and I wanted to just welcome you to this incredible evening of chatting with the team from Coast Around. I'm joined tonight by Shane Ridley and Adam Benz, and also Josh Ridley. And these guys are online with me. How you doing?
Evening, Matt.
G'day, everybody. Hey, Matt.
And
Good to see
hello,
you.
everybody watching at home.
Hello to everybody watching at home. I know that we're joined by some people at home, and I'd like to just give a shout out to all those people who are joining us on the journey so far for Coast Around, and those who are online with us. We want to encourage you that while you're tuning in with us tonight, this is an Ask Us Anything situation. So any question that you have, and most importantly, it should really be, around Tasmania and coast around and what we're doing. We don't need to know what Josh ate for breakfast, but what we want to do is want to answer all your questions and anything at all that you want to talk to us about. We're here to have a chat with you. So thanks for joining us, and I want to just kick it over to the team really briefly and just check in with you and see how are you doing.
Yeah, we're good. I haven't heard that song very many times in the last couple of weeks. It was in the intro video.
I'll tell you what, it's actually pretty cool. You guys have your own theme song now. How good is that? That's amazing.
It gets better than that, Matt. We have our own theme song on Spotify, available through Apple Music and all good record stores.
In fact, you can pretty much just tell Siri.
Yeah, everything about
Just
that
tell
statement
Siri
is
to
true
make
apart from record stores. There's no record. The record stores don't exist anymore, Shane. You should know that.
Record
I thought it was making a comeback. It's the biggest selling item at.
You're definitely showing us how old you are there, mate. Head down to Virgin Records, people, and you'll pick yourself up a vinyl.
We've got Molly promoting it on Hey Hey It's Saturday.
Yeah.
Look, I'd like to ask you just how many streams have you had on that song so far, and you can't count your own, Adam.
I think maybe 3 or 4.
If we're not counting your own.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. 1.
No, that's excellent. Look, I think that the last time that we spoke, it was really the first time that we had a chance to talk to the public at large about what's going on with Coast Around and what it's all about. And that was really great just to, I guess, get a sense of what's happening here. And I think it's important to note that there's going to be a few people who are going to watch this video, who are going to tune in tonight, that may not actually get an understanding of what Coast Around is about. So I want to just kick it over to, let's start with you, Adam, and just give us an overview of what is Coast Around all about and what are we trying to achieve?
Yeah, so for those of you who aren't familiar with the trip that have maybe joined the page or like the page recently, we're basically embarking on a jet ski expedition which is going all the way around Tasmania. So we're circumnavigating the island of Tasmania over around about 9 days in February next year for about 1,500 kilometres. And we're doing that, initially we were doing that as a trip of a lifetime. Shane and I went to school together, and it was something we wanted to mark our 40th birthdays with doing something epic. And then it's turned into obviously something bigger than that, and we are doing this in support of the amazing work that Lifeline do around suicide prevention and awareness. So we're raising awareness and funds for Lifeline as we go around.
Yeah, that's a really good recap, and I think that just again highlights that, not just an adventure for yourselves, although it is, but also highlights the importance of mental health and understanding our mental health. And that's one of the things that I've seen you guys do recently in the time since our last live video, is there's been a number of occasions, and I see it on social media, you see it on Instagram, you see it on Facebook and what have you, that you've been out and about and you've been connecting with a whole bunch of different people and organizations talking about the importance of maintaining good mental health and I guess talking to people about Coast Around and what its importance is to you, but also what its importance is going to be to the community. Shane, why don't you give us a little bit of an understanding of what you guys have been up to since we last saw you?
Heaps. I don't think on this Ask Us Anything we'd have time to cover it. It feels like I'm living a jet ski life, which sounds like a first world problem, but and it is a first world problem. Like we're very grateful for it. But we in the last month, we've picked up the skis. We got Adam off his L plates. That was a big moment, wasn't it, Josh?
Definitely. We did get that.
They literally put an L plate on the back of my ski. It was hilarious.
We did.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And then we've been trying to clock time on the skis. So we've done several runs inside the bay up to Tangalooma Island, sort of 150k rides. We did In fact, both rides that we did, one we did in the afternoon. There was like a severe weather warning, be off the water by lunchtime. And everybody was like coming out of the boat ramp. And we went in at Cleveland right beside the volunteer marine rescue people. And they just looked at us like, what are you clowns doing? And, we punched out through that up to Tangalooma. And when I say punched out, it was a metre and a half or something, which is horrendous swell for southeast Queensland, but it's practically glass for what we're going to experience in Tasmania.
Well, it's actually probably really good training. That's in fact the kind of weather that you guys need is that choppy stuff, to get a bit of a feel for what it's going to be like. Because as you said, in southeast Queensland, it's very unlikely that you're going to see the kinds of seas here that you're going to experience down in the Tasman Strait and around the southwest corner of Tasmania. It's a very, very different story. So, how has this prepared you? How are you feeling right now about it, Josh?
So personally, I'm feeling more confident with the ski. When I first got on the ski, it was a bit questionable, and I was trying to figure out what was kind of going on and just kind of learn it and understand it. But I feel like we've done most of our learning now, and we've got a general gist of how to ride the ski and what's going on. So now it's just about getting second nature on the ski, I guess. Just get more and more hours in and get ready to sit on it for a lot more to come.
Now, just hang on a second. So I want to just drill in on something for a moment. You're getting used to the skis. Now, I think it was on the 2nd of November, so at the beginning of this month. If anybody is interested in chasing down the social media post, you can find it on the 2nd of November. These guys picked up the 3 brand new Sea-Doo Fish Pro jet skis from JSW Power Sports, and that was a pretty auspicious occasion. And so tell us how that felt to finally get a hold of these items that you've been talking about and dreaming about for so long.
It was pretty special. It was like a reward for the months of hard work that we'd put in, and I think that's probably the best way to describe it. I don't know what you boys thought.
Definitely. It was more of a reward after we've done a lot of hard work. Finally got the skis, got to take them out that afternoon, get them wet, and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, right.
I nearly didn't want to ride them because they were so shiny and new.
Well, I remember seeing the video, and I thought to myself, man, they look really new. Like they're fresh, and of course they are. They're brand new. They look great, and they've got all the decals on them, and they're starting to look really, really nice. And I thought, man, if it was me, I'd be starting to think to myself, do I really want to take this around Tasmania and ruin it?
Well, I mean, we've already put dents, scratches, broken bumpers.
Well, some of us have.
Some of us, not all of us.
Should we point, Josh?
So what you're saying is no one's like torn stickers or bumped anything or nothing?
No,
I don't think
some of us have.
Now we've got to start to explore a little bit about what's gone wrong, because as I understand it, it hasn't all been smooth sailing. In fact, there have been a few rough moments. So I think now's the time to spill it all and to tell us all, because it is tell all session time. So how about we get started? With you, Adam? Why don't you tell us a little bit about exactly what has been going on the water?
Yeah, probably the one that I was most upset about is we did a ride from Bribie Island over to Cape Morton and then all the way down the outside of Morton Island and Stradbroke Island. And it was a pretty nice day. We set off and we had like a little GoPro mounted all over our skis. I had one with a suction cup off to the side of the ski to try and get some sort of different angles of footage, because we're learning how to capture this footage as we go around as well.
And by the way, these are GoPros that have been supplied to you, right?
Yeah, that's right. So GoPro have actually come on board and given us some equipment to use. So we're...
Should we just give it a shout out to GoPro? Thanks, Garrett, and the team at GoPro.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks,
that.
Thank you.
The team at GoPro who supplied all the beautiful cameras. that were that are telling us this story. But
Yeah,
back to
that's
you.
right.
Yeah.
And we were getting some good footage, some of which you would have seen at the beginning of the live, where we're getting some good drone footage and whatnot. Now we left Point Lookout at Stradbroke Island, and we take off, rip off down North Stradbroke Island rather, and the weather just turned from glass to chop in the space of 2 minutes. And I'm just smashing into these waves. We're trying to get back at a reasonable time because the day was getting away from us and there was weather coming in. And Shane came past me and he says, "Oh, how's the GoPro going?" on the side of the ski. And I looked down and, of course, there's no GoPro. It was gone. The suction cap
No,
came
already.
off from smashing into the surf. And we didn't even bother looking. We weren't going to find it. But something in me was, in the back of my mind, was thinking, there's lots of cars and people and skis going along this beach, camping on the beach. And I said to Shane when we got back, maybe we should put something in one of the Facebook groups to see if anyone might have seen it wash up on shore, because we're reasonably close to the shore. And then lo and behold, someone posted something the next night saying they'd seen this GoPro wash up and they'd seen us, so they put the post up, and Shane got in touch with them and told them what footage would have been on the camera. We managed to get it back, so Shane went out and presented them with a little thank you voucher for our Coast Around shop and a little bit of cash to say thank you very much for doing this.
Whoever those people were, you are just magic. So good for them to reach out and give that back, because that's a sneaky little prize that, quite frankly, anybody would have loved to have had washed up on the shore. But so good for them to have given it back like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It was fantastic. They found it the following morning on their 5 a.m. walk up the beach, and the 5-year-old daughter found it just sort of, in the surf or on the beach. And the GoPro, I had it here, but the GoPro did all the things the GoPro should do, but it's like just caked in sand that we can't get out from all the rubber molding. That, like, it's just, you can see where the ocean's drilled it into all the gaps and holes, but completely watertight. The battery still had half a battery to charge. All the content is on there. It was a great outcome.
Great, and just goes to show that it's important that you get good quality gear to be able to do the stuff that you're doing. I think just
Matt, sorry, we probably just have to give another shout out to Paul from Jet Fisher, who immediately following that hooked us up with a bunch of lanyards. What do you call them? Tethers.
Tethers.
So we can actually tether the gear moving forward, and we don't have to worry about luck.
Absolutely, I think that's great. And just coming back to what you were saying before as well, Adam, you were saying that that the ocean was glass, and then all of a sudden, almost in the blink of an eye, it started to get really choppy. I think people might not realise, even people who live in and around southeast Queensland waterways, might not realise just how, I guess, mercurial the bay can be. Like, it can change very, very quickly, and it's actually quite a dangerous water. A lot of people, get themselves into trouble, and there are quite a few injuries and other kinds of casualties as well every year throughout that area. So I think that they can misunderstand that, actually, even though it's fairly safe and it's fairly low key, it's not like it can change very, very quickly, and when it does, it tends to go from 0 to 100 very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm learning that more and more, and we need to obviously get out in those conditions where we can. We obviously don't want to be silly and going out in cyclonic weather or anything like that, but we want to make sure that we're getting out in different conditions, because part of that story and one of the reasons we're doing this trip is we don't want it to be smooth sailing, so to speak, going around Tasmania. We obviously know that won't be the case, but we want it to be an adventure, and we want that to be part of the story that we tell. It's about the conditions, it's about the locations, that they are. It's if anything, it's one of Australia's final frontiers when you talk about some of that wilderness that we're traveling around.
Absolutely.
So it's something that
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to. I'm trying to prepare myself mentally for what that will actually be when we're there, but I just don't. It's just going to be sensory overload when we get there, I believe.
He's been
I think
practicing. When we get the GoPro footage back after a ride, all we can hear on his GoPro is "Wow, oh, wow."
But that's me in awe of your riding skills, Shane.
Wow, fair enough.
It's not where we're going.
We do have a question from Ben. So we're joined by a bunch of different people online, and of course, if you are joining us online, this is Coast Around Tasmania. Ask us anything. These guys are going and circumnavigating Tasmania, doing that across roughly 9 days. It's just a great big adventure, but it's also a great opportunity to start talking about mental health and raise funds to support Lifeline. But Ben asks this question: that how did we, as in this group right here, come up with the different roles? How did you come up with your different roles, and what exactly are you responsible for? Now, I know you've got some special names put aside for yourselves, and you do like to give yourself some titles. So why don't you share those with us?
I think Josh should answer that. Adam, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
So, to be honest, I don't know if we really put a lot of thought into our. Well, we did actually put a lot of thought into our names.
Josh, I understand that you took some time. You wrote down about 3 Fool's Cut pages worth of titles until you got the right one.
I did, and they wouldn't let me pick any of the ones that I had written. They had to choose their own, obviously. So we've got the VP of Expedition, which is yes, which Dad was that you?
No, it's you.
I swear you're that's me. That's me. I'm the VP of Expedition. Here we go. This is the equivalent of the names.
I don't know how you guys are going to get around Tasmania at all. You are so organised.
I know. Then, sorry, I typically am ready for this, but I'm really not. I've completely forgotten what we're calling Adam and Dad, to be honest.
So Shane's the
Adam.
Chief Circumnavigation Officer,
Apparently.
allegedly.
Yes, apparently. And we need to have the apparently in the title.
Apparently in brackets.
Yeah, in brackets.
And then I'm head of adventure. Again, whatever that means.
Whatever that means. But when it comes to practicalities, what does it actually look like? What are you guys actually doing? Because I know that a lot of people won't realise that there is a hell of a lot of work that's going behind hours and hours and hours worth of effort and work that's going into stuff. You guys have got this website going on. You've got that videos going up and what have you, and that all seems very flashy. And that stuff takes time, but that's not the only stuff. It's even just the planning, the logistics, and all that kind of gear. What exactly are you doing, and who's doing what?
Adam's not doing a whole lot. It seems like I'm doing all the work.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he's just absorbing that. I can see he's just trying to work out how to retort that.
I don't need to. People who know me know my ethic.
We've actually divided and conquered a little bit. There's I think it's fair to say we haven't really thought about this question, but yeah, thanks Ben just for dropping that on us. We have a list essentially of things that we have to do and things that we have to work out, and we're just working through that list, and whoever's talents fit best or that has a connection in that area or knows something, we're kind of leaning towards that. So I've done a fair bit of boating in southeast Queensland, so I'm kind of Chief Circumnavigation Officer here locally. Adam's quite passionate and familiar with Tasmania, so he's kind of putting the bigger step legs around Tasmania. Whereas I'll then look at those individual legs and tides and bommies and all the things that we need to look at, in those locations. And really, it just, I don't know what the other boys think. I think like it just seems to be flowing and working itself out. You know, things come up. We have a conversation like this where we think, oh, we need X or we need Y, and then someone just grabs it and runs with it, and we check it off and move on to the next thing. That's how I think it's happening anyway, Adam?
Yeah,
It's worth, I mean, it's probably worth mentioning as well. I mean, it's definitely worth mentioning that it's not just the three of us. We do have our support team, and they've been really great in helping us, you know, think about things that we need to plan for and project manage when it comes to you know, accommodation and logistics and those sorts of things. So it's definitely not three heads. It's seven heads plus our broader network that are helping us put this together. And we're having lots of conversations with you know, people like you know, Lifeline Tasmania, like the local Lifeline, about what support they can provide and assistance they can provide when we do get to Tasmania. Obviously, Lifeline here in Darling Downs and Queensland have been great with helping us, you know, put together a plan of attack there as well. But it's been a really good process, and I don't think you know, apart from Shane carrying everyone, I don't think anyone's really not pulling their weight.
Yeah. And I think, you know, it's probably good to point out something that I'd like to point out. And Josh, this is going to be for you to comment on, because I know that you've been running this game a little bit as well. You know, there's the stuff in the background. You know, you're bringing people into the journey that some people won't even realise that there's this stuff happening. So, for instance, when we're looking at the social media engagement and all of the, you know, all of the marketing, if you want to put it that way, that comes and is a part of this. Josh, as I understand it, you've been reaching out to university students as well and trying to give these guys a bit of a chance to come on board and have some part to play in this as well. Is that right?
That is. So we reached out to Griffith and we spoke to them about potentially having interns come from Griffith to work for Coast Around to gain some real world experience and some practical application of everything that they've been learning. And so far we've had one intern come on board, and I was actually with her today working on some of the Coast Around stuff, and putting together a few social media posts and other stuff to come through. So it's kind of exciting, and like Dad said, it's definitely not just the three of our heads working on it. There's definitely a support team and a few people helping along the way.
And I think that's something that you know, not to jinx the trip, but when it's that iceberg analogy, a lot of people are going to see something on the surface, and what you see is not necessarily what you get. It's actually, there's a heck of a lot going on in the background, and even Shane, I can recall that you put up a post not long ago. You gave a nice little shout out to Lindsay Warner, the first known man to have jet skied all around Australia, and I understand that you got some interesting advice on how to maintain and increase your fitness for the trip. Tell us more.
Yeah, and I guess before I end that, just to extend on what the boys were saying, like the network, you know, there's obviously the three of us, there's Lifeline, there's our road crew, you know, there's our sponsor crew, and then the jet skiing community has just been unbelievable. So, you know, we've reached out to guys like Lindsay Warner, you know, who was happy enough to jump on a phone, and I don't know, what did we get at him? 2-3 hours on the phone.
Oh, yeah. And incidentally, he's probably going to come on one of our Ask Us Anythings in the new year too, Matt.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And it's like, it's that level of engagement from everybody. So, you know, we got lots and lots of good stuff from him. He said one of the biggest things for him was fitness, and that we should wrap ourselves up in all of our wetsuits and all of our gear, and get on our mountain bikes in the highest gear we can find and ride as far up the longest hill that we can find. And he said, don't worry if on the first day, you know, you only get 20 or 50 meters. Just keep doing it until you can nail it, because when you're on the skis and you've got all that gear on and you're heavy and you're in chop and you're bouncing up and down, it's that kind of level of fitness that you know is going to get you across the line.
So my question is, have you done that yet? Have you kitted up and got on the bike and tried to do a hill climb?
So I can say hand on heart that I haven't. But I have done some spin classes, so I am on the bike. I am working the legs, but I haven't yet got to the kitted up stage. It's coming.
It's coming. It's on its way.
coming.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
How about you guys? How's your fitness coming along? You got a fitness
Yeah.
regime?
I'm at the gym most mornings, doing some work, so it's paying off. I'm managing to lose some of the weight, which is good for fuel economy. So,
You're keeping fit, mate. That's good. That's good.
yeah, no, it's been good, but it was actually quite interesting what he was saying to focus on. He even sort of went so far as to say, the little hand grips that you get, because obviously we've got a trigger finger on the throttle with the jet ski. He was saying that he even had one of those hand grips that he used in the lead up to, just to get the strength in his hands, because so often you're basically holding onto the grips and trying to adjust the throttle accordingly.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's one of those things that that, as you say that, it makes perfect sense. But I don't know that I would have immediately thought, oh yeah, you're going to have to work on your grip strength for for a jet ski trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm doing 200 of them a day. I don't know what you other boys are doing. I don't know how much.
201.
Yeah, I'm doing 202.
Yeah.
Just figured it might be the right number.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I think it's important to note as well that we're if I'm right, if my calculations are correct, we're now 87 days away from go time. Is that right?
Oh, surely it can't be that. It was only 100 days, like 13 days ago.
You know how to say things like that, Matt?
Oh, wow, 87 days. That's a long time. That's
No, it's not.
it's not. It's not a long time.
And if
2
you add
months,
Christmas
25
and New Year
days.
into it, it's about 14 work days
Yeah.
/ gym days / preparation days.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild, guys. You've got a lot. You've got the time is counting down. So
Yeah.
as you start looking at that, and you've got 87 days left, I know that you're all planners, you're all thinkers, and you're all quite strategic in the way that you like to look at the what you're doing. What's on the go? What's on the cards? Where are we going with this? And what's next?
So we've got a few things on the go. The first thing is we're taking part in a world record attempt on Sunday. So there's 250 of us going to dress up as Santa Clauses and the like, and ride jet skis on the Gold Coast in an attempt to break a world record.
Unreal.
So understand the current record is about 127 jet skis. So we're going to blow it out of the water.
How did you organise that? How did you pull that together? Is it just a shout out to everybody?
So it's not our event. We're riding in someone else's event, and they've put a lot of effort into pulling it together. And they had an attempt last year, and they actually had enough jet skis last year, but they missed some requirements from Guinness to actually get the record. So this year they're exceeding the number of jet skis they had, and there's some pretty tight instructions to do that. We've got a ride not quite scheduled. We're just trying to set in a date, which will be a Gold Coast to Noosa ride. And we've got a 2-day circumnavigation of Fraser Island. So they're probably in the next month, they're the activities that we need to, knock off the list. And that's kind of those long distances, 8 or 10 hours in the saddle, having to refuel, having to eat on the skis, kind of experience, to get through. Was there anything else I missed in there, Adam?
Oh, probably just the one that we did on Friday just gone, which was a ride on the Brisbane River for White Ribbon Domestic Violence Awareness that was put together by Maritime Safety and Queensland Police. We were lucky enough to be part of that, riding on the Brisbane River, 50 skis in the shape of a white ribbon, cruising down the Brown Snake. It was pretty good to watch.
the brown snake. Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that I'd really like to see about what you guys are doing is that it's not just about yourself, as in you're really wanting to see people participate in what you're doing, but also participate in what others are doing. It's a community activity. You know, it's yes, it's your adventure, but you're also wanting to make sure that that others get involved and you get involved in their stuff along the journey. So I noticed that you do try to get people along and to join in, and I would just wonder if at all the trips that you're about to do up to Noosa and what have you, are these things that people can get involved in?
Yeah, so we've got some local community people who are getting involved in parts of those legs, and we meet people along the way. Like it's really a really interesting thing happens, and anyone who's a boatie will know this. But boats change people, and jet skis are a form of boat. You know, when you get on a train or a bus or a plane, you know, everybody looks at their feet and doesn't talk to the person beside them and just get in your seat and shut up. You know, maybe then you have a conversation. But when you're on a boat, everyone waves. Everyone's looking to see what boat you're in, where you're going, where you came from, where you're heading. You know, there's all these conversations. So, you know, been really fortunate. We were out the back of North Stradbroke Island there a couple of weeks ago. You know, we're driving through some canyons and seeing some unbelievable, you know, rock cliffs. And like Surf Lifesaving come around the corner in two rubber duckies. And, you know, we're like, just like a million miles from anywhere. And suddenly these guys are there just doing some training. And, you know, we all pull up, you know, in the swell, trying carefully not to get smashed against the rocks and just having a yarn, you know, like, hey, what are you guys up to? And what are you blokes doing out here? Was what they asked us.
That's unreal. That's really cool. That's exciting.
And
I think it sounds like there's actually a community building. By the way, just before we go on, if you're watching and you've just tuned in, we're talking about Coast Around Australia. I just about said, not yet. Coast Around Tasmania, and these crazy cats right here, they're circumnavigating Tasmania, and they're doing it all in 9 days. It's happening in 87 days. Oh, sorry, 84 days, and no, 87 days. And they're doing it to have an adventure, a grand adventure, but also to help raise awareness of and funds for mental health support and services. But just coming back to what you're saying, Shane, you know, while people are thinking about some questions that they can ask, we really want you guys to submit your questions on Facebook so that we can answer them and these guys can answer you. But Shane, just while you're there, I want to question you on this. How much does the community that's developing around Coast Around matter? Like, it seems like this is actually the most important thing that's taking place at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the community, and you know, everybody's playing a role in that. You know, everybody's interested in the story. They're sharing it. They're contributing. They're giving. You know, my wife went to the skin doctor this morning, right? And the skin doctor says, "Yeah, jet skiing, that's really cool. I've got some mates who've been around Australia." Right. So like 10 minutes later, she came home and told me 10 minutes later, we've, you know, drilled down and found a documentary online for some guys who 20 years ago went around Australia, you know, raising money for a hospital in Sydney. And it turns out that, you know, it was posted by R. Jones Marine on the Gold Coast, who's a Riviera dealer. You know, I like literally pick the phone up. The guy answers the phone. Randall answers the phone. And I'm like, hey, this is a random question, but, you know, I just seen that you guys posted this jet ski video from years ago and there were some guys in it. I'm just wondering who posted that and who I can talk to. And Randall was like, yeah, that was me. I was in that. Geez, that was a long time ago. You know, how can I help? And we're having lunch with him on Monday to talk about his experience 20 years ago and what we can glean and pick and grab from that.
Wow.
And, you know, everywhere we go, everybody we talk to, you know, the willingness to share their story, to help us out, to give us their 10 cents worth. You know, it's just been fantastic. You know, they're getting on our page and, you know, we see every day we get more followers on our page and we get more private messages from people. And, you know, we're getting recognized on boat ramps now. And, you know, and it used to be like, oh, what, did you guys all get your skis on sale? They're matching. You know, and now it's like, oh, you're the Coast Around crew. You're those morons going around Tasmania. You know, Maybe they don't call us morons, but
We've actually got a question that is actually about your newfound fame, and because there's been a series of media events. You guys have been on radio. You're in the paper. It's all, it's building, and I'm pretty sure, Josh, I get a feeling that you've had some people come to you and they've asked you to sign their wetsuit. So I just wonder, exactly, what is this exposure doing to you? And are you still able to walk through doors? Are you able to walk into rooms, or is your head just a bit too big, mate? What's going on?
All I can say, it's hard to go shopping for groceries these days. You can't walk down an aisle without somebody stopping you to have a conversation about Coast Around and the crazy idea that we've had.
I believe it.
Adam
just yet.
Adam's got people do shopping for him.
Yeah, that's right. You still do your shopping yourself?
Oh, wait, we're not meant to?
No, it was actually, you talk about community. Josh and I were at the Horizon Shores boat show on the weekend, just trying to build people to come on board and follow our adventure as well. And a lot of people are really excited to follow along. Like once they understand what we're doing and why, obviously. It's something that people really want to get involved with, and we're meeting people from Tasmania saying, "Oh, talk to such and such when you're down in Tribunna as well, and tell them such and such sent you." It's quite fun.
And just on that point, just telling everybody about the story there on the boat show, and just watching the reaction on their face as you tell them, because at a boat show, somebody starts talking to you, their first instinct is to kind of shut down the conversation and keep walking. Although it's a boat show, so people are usually nicer and want to talk a little bit. But once we actually explained that we're Coast Around Tas and we're circumnavigating Tasmania on jet skis, and we even had one of our skis there, you could just see their face go, "Wait a minute, what?" And then they were interested. They were hooked. They just wanted to know a little bit more, followed us on Facebook or whatever, and came through. It was pretty cool.
That is great. I think it's great. It does seem to inspire people. It's a pretty out there idea, and for the most part, people either don't have the resources or the ability, or maybe even the confidence to get out there and do it. But when they hear about the story, they actually do love the idea of, "Oh man, that's really cool," and I'd like to know more about that. And for the most part, people are definitely jumping on board. And we've got a comment from Steve Dummett. Is that right? Yep. Steve Dummett. And he says, "I love what you guys are doing. I love what you're doing. Do you get to wear Lycra?" Adam, I think that is a question for you for sure. Do you get to wear it? And here's my additional question. Do you like it?
Are we talking about on the trip or?
We're talking about Coast Around, so I don't know whether somewhere else and whether you like it or not, but we're just talking about Coast Around right now.
When we're in Tasmania, I think. Sorry, misunderstood. Yeah, we do. Wear, I guess, a form of neoprene for our wetsuits. We've obviously established after a couple of radio interviews and questions asking us how we sort of do, number twos and those sorts of things. It'll be a two-piece suit, so we can get around that.
That's a good question, because so you've actually had people ask you the question, "How do you do your number twos?" Yeah, right.
Didn't catch us off guard or anything.
Well, I'm quite interested now. How are you going to do your number two?
Well, I mean, the truth is we don't know. Well, I don't know. It will be, if we're in a position where we can't get into the shore because we've got 30-foot Dolomite cliffs on the Tasman Peninsula. I mean, I really think we just got to be prepared and try and get all of that out the way before we go.
Yeah, there you go.
And if
go
not,
to the toilet before we head off.
What was that, Shane?
If not, we just have a natural bidet.
Yeah.
Well, you do. You really do. You really do. I tell you what, it really is. We should stop there. Enough toilet humor.
We actually have a second interview at 6:00 in the morning with that with that announcer. So I'd actually forgotten about that question, and now, Adam, I'm a bit nervous about what we may get asked, as a follow-up question tomorrow.
We'll just deflect, mate. We'll just deflect.
Yeah.
Deflect, yeah.
In the old bait and switch.
Reject the premise of the question. Just move on. I think I actually think it's really incredible to see what you guys are doing, and a lot of people are. But there are a lot of those little, those little things that people are still wondering about. And I remember in the last conversation that we had, you talked a lot about the process. Well, you didn't talk a lot. You talked about the process of circumnavigating. You have a support crew with you, and how it's all working. How have those plans developed? You had a general idea of what you were talking about. You had some basic ideas of where you might stop and spend the night and all that kind of gear. Have those plans developed? Have they firmed up yet, or are you still pretty loose on them?
Yeah, no, they've definitely firmed up. We'll, as we mentioned earlier, we were lucky enough to speak with Lindsay Warner, who's already done the circumnavigation, and we basically vetted our schedule with him. There was one little area on the west coast that he suggested we probably wouldn't be able to get into directly, but if we went 5 minutes down the coast a little bit further, we'd be able to sort of get the skis in and out there. So the locations we're pulling into are all but locked in, and then we're also adding the points of interest between each of those nightly stops to the schedule as well. One of the other things we were really lucky, very fortunate to have come our way was an introduction to Shannon from Par Avion, which is a charter airline company in Tasmania, and they do flights in and out of Wineglass Bay and that southwest wilderness area. And we, on our previous Ask Us Anything, we were worried about fuel distances getting from Strawn around to Southport over 2 days and carrying enough fuel and getting in. But he's very kindly offered to give us some fuel that he has stored in Bathurst Harbour, which we can top up with when we get in there. So it's likely we're going to have to carry less fuel for that particular leg, and that just is just a huge relief. We don't have to get too crazy about how much we carry and how we top up and stuff like that as well.
Well, that's extraordinary. That's an amazing thing. It just goes back to what you were saying before, Shane, that there is a really great community building around this, and people love the story. People love being involved in something like this. And speaking of being involved, we really want you, if you're listening tonight, we want you to be able to get involved and ask questions, just like Steve Dummett did again. And he's asking this question: what is the economic benefit to the Tasmanian economy? How is it providing a benefit? What is this adventure doing to give back to Tasmania?
Well, Josh will spend about $300 a night on beer, so that's got to contribute something.
They will love me at the bar.
You're assuming because his fame won't get him too far. Is that what you're saying, Shane?
That's true.
You won't get him free beer.
We're famous. I'm going to be struggling. Once I'm in the bar, it'll be packed.
People will come because of you.
Exactly.
And modest too.
Yeah.
So exactly how what is the economic benefit? Have you looked at that? Is that something that you're considering in terms of your planning and how you're moving forwards?
Yeah, I think one of the key pillars of the journey is showcasing those regions around Tasmania. So, we've reached out to some tourism bodies, and we're sort of in fairly early talks with some of those to be able to showcase those regions that we visit. So one of the things we're really passionate about is being able to showcase those towns and regions that people may not really know all too well. Like, obviously everyone's familiar with the Hobarts and the Port Arthurs and Launceston regions, but there's many others that we'll be visiting. So we've obviously engaged with local community groups, local industries. Shane will talk about the Tasmanian Seafood Industry Council as well. So we're engaging with their membership, which is basically all based all around the coast of Tasmania. So we're really engaging with the community and the regions as much as we can to showcase them. And then, whilst there might not be an immediate economic benefit for them, we hope that the legacy economic benefit with the content that we create, around the video and episodic TV content, documentary content that we create will help with that over time.
And not only that, Adam, but the other thing that we need to bring into this is that there's fundraising taking place, and will take place. It'll especially really come into its own. We'll be asking people to contribute to the work that Lifeline does, and that includes the work that Lifeline Tasmania does. So on that level, there's an economic benefit to Lifeline Tasmania, which effectively those guys do an incredible job. They see they support hundreds, thousands of people across Tasmania every year with counselling, free counselling, and support services. And the work that you're going to be doing to help support their work is actually going to feed back into the community. And it does sometimes seem like a really long, bow to draw when we say that donations to a not-for-profit or a charity have an economic benefit, but it does, because that charity will then spend those dollars on either wages, so that there's qualified counsellors, or on products for services and so on and so forth. And all that feeds back into local economy as well. So in many respects, the work that you're doing is not just those direct things, that tourism stuff, but there's also that, you might call it a soft outcome to begin with, but it does have hard economic benefits eventually.
Yeah, and I even think going, one step further, like if we're talking about minimising the cost to the community around, some of those issues around mental health and, suicide prevention, we talk about the costs to those communities of that. We're going a long way to trying to, minimise those costs by doing this as well, or reversing it. So we're not just talking about an economic benefit from a, injection of cash into the community, but what we can actually save the community as well.
Absolutely. One of the things, there's a great group out there based in Brisbane called Trade Mutt. Many people will have heard about Trade Mutt. They make trade shirts and what have you, and they famously have coined that phrase, "This is a conversation starter." And whilst we don't want to appropriate that phrase for Coast Around, in many respects, what we're doing here is just about that. It's about starting conversations. Around, get out there, live a big life, have a dream, go on an adventure, but also some really serious stuff about, let's talk about mental health. Let's together let's have a conversation about this and let's address some of these really tricky issues. Addressing a tricky issue, let me just ask, we've had a question. Josh, your mum is feeling a bit worried, I think, about you. She's put in a question and is asking, will you be tethered to the ski in the big waves? I get a feeling she's a little bit worried about you, mate. And it's nice. Thanks, Mum. Thanks for the question.
As long as the tether is long enough that we can still do like the Superman's mid-flight as we're launching off the big waves. No. I don't believe that we'll be tethered to the ski for the reason of if we fall off due to the ski flipping itself, we don't want to get stuck on the underside of the ski at any point in time. Yeah. With the three of us there, we can always go over to each other and help each other out of the water. So there's actually not too much of an issue if we become, or in everything that we're doing so far, we haven't seen that there's too much of an issue. If one of us does fall off, we can always get back to our ski. When we're in some bigger waves, we might realize that we might need a tether, but at the same time, I feel like actually being able to get away from your ski might be beneficial in the right circumstances.
So in a sense, intuitively, not being tethered to the ski actually makes things a bit safer. But I want to just drill in on something you said there, Josh. You talked about the fact that what we've seen so far, that when someone falls off, it's okay. That just makes me think that perhaps you've experienced this already. Tell us more, Josh.
So I may or may not have fallen off the ski once or twice already.
Are you the only one, Josh?
No. Well, actually, I'm not sure. Adam, have you fallen off yet?
No,
No.
the L player
No.
is the only one that hasn't fallen off.
Yeah. Yeah,
The,
apparently.
the other bloke took a dive when we're going in calm waters around Tangalooma, so I don't know what happened there.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah,
Oh, it'll
most of the
happen.
time, though,
It will absolutely happen.
if you're not
Most
falling
of
off,
the
you're not
time.
trying hard enough, Adam.
Yeah, that's right.
that is true.
My risk
That is
profile
true.
isn't great enough.
We actually have some really good waterproof comms. We wear a speaker and mic, like a boom mic.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is when someone falls off, typically you hear them say, "Oh shit," splash. And then while they're in the water, you can actually still talk to them and hear them as they're kind of coming back to the surface and looking around and trying to work out what happened. So that's our safety mechanism for that. You know, the oh shit is the warning. Pull up, someone's come off. If it hasn't happened in front of you, it's happening behind you. Someone's going to need a rescue.
That's the code word. That's the safe word.
And the downside to having an always on comms unit is you have to listen to the other person singing along as they.
Oh, okay. I thought I had it muted.
Wow. Okay, so Josh enjoys singing on the jet ski. This is good news. Okay,
We do.
right,
We
well,
do.
I think what we need to have a party. We need to have a send-off party before you guys go, and there needs to be karaoke. We all need to hear Josh's rendition of "Staying Alive."
Of Coast Around. No, Coast Around.
Coast Around, yes.
We get all three of us up to sing the song.
We can stream that from Spotify, and you can be singing, mate.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
I like
That's
it.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
it.
Version
like where
2.
I don't like where this is going. It'll be a lot more fun singing it than listening to it. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Unreal. Now I've got a Steve Dummett. You've put through a bunch of questions, mate, and we're loving that. In fact, if other people are joining us tonight, we are going to probably wrap up soon. But we got time, and we can still keep on talking about this probably until the sun comes up. But if you're joining us, Coast Around Tasmania is these three crazy cats getting out on jet skis, circumnavigating Tasmania, and doing so on a great big adventure, and at the same time raising funds for and raising awareness about mental health. Steve Dummett has put a question in, and we love that. And if you're joining us, please throw us some questions. This is an Ask Us Anything session, so that you can find out more about what's going on, why it's happening, and all the details. Steve, he's asked a question that will your family and friends be joining you? And he says, on completion of the event. That's something that we haven't talked about before. Exactly what happens at the end. Because, there's all this lead up, and then once it's done, and you come into what? Are you coming into Hobart? Is that where you're coming? You're coming into Hobart? Yeah, so you come into Hobart,
Yes.
the returning conquerors. And then at that point, what's next?
Just saying goodbye and getting out of there as fast as I can. I've had enough of Josh by then. It'll be time to move on.
I reckon I'll be up
Definitely.
for another lap. I reckon I might just keep going.
You don't want to keep going.
Yeah.
But no, we're currently planning there's a few things in plan for the final stretch. Hopefully it'll involve both an on-water and on-land activity.
Brilliant.
And there'll be, some media and a barbecue. So there'll be a couple of post-lap events, if we call it that. One will be kind of in the immediate term, like cross the line, celebrate, jump in the Derwent River like we just won the Sydney to Hobart type experience. And then there's likely to be a more organised or formal. When I say formal, not black tie formal, but just, a lunch or a dinner or a barbecue in the park or something post-event to, thank sponsors and all of those people that don't want to stand in the rain waiting hours for us to come up the river, who might want to, get involved in that a bit further on. And then there's intention to have an event back up here in Queensland for all of our Queensland followers and supporters and people who've helped. So whether that's in Toowoomba or the Gold Coast or maybe even both, we're still we're just a little bit focused at the moment on actually planning and executing the adventure. We've kind of got some ideas for those things, but they're still coming together a bit.
That's brilliant. And I think that's
My parents have actually booked their crossing already, guys. I didn't tell you, so they're making their way down there.
Fantastic.
There you go.
I think we should lay down the challenge, and we should say we should make sure at some point when we have another Ask Us Anything that we let people know, what the tentative date is that you guys will be coming through, because we know that with weather and what have you, there could be a bit of a flex. But we need to get a good contingent from Queensland to come down and say good day to you as you cross the line and celebrate the win, celebrate the fact that you came home.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really good thing. But I definitely
or help search for us if we don't.
I will do that. Yeah, absolutely. I'll get my binoculars out, no trouble. Easy, done, sorted. Yeah. I wonder if there's anything that the three of you feel we need to talk about tonight. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to share with the listeners, the viewers, as we're probably leading into the back end of our conversation here? What have we missed, and what do you want to leave people with tonight?
We could probably spill the beans on a couple of new sponsor announcements.
Yeah, please do.
That's true.
Are we okay with that, boys?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This is like heard it here first.
Brilliant.
Sponsor announcements. So this won't actually be publicised for another bit over a week, but we can announce tonight that we have secured sponsorship from BCF. And we're very happy to have BCF, boating, camping, fishing, helping us along the way. I want to say something about that ad with the car and the wheels falling off, and like we just probably meet their demographic perfectly, but I don't know if that's appropriate. I'll take that on notice. But no, so at really, really happy for BCF to be on board. And also Telstra. So we've got some Internet of Things tracking devices that have been donated from Telstra, amongst other things. So people will actually be able to see in real time, where we are and what we're up to.
That's really cool.
So, yeah, that's our official sponsors now. Jet Pilot, who we're grateful for. Australian Good Food Guide, or AGF, who we're grateful for.
We've got some cool things happening there. They've been really great with helping us organise, some restaurants and accommodation in Tasmania, and we're looking forward to doing some cool things. So stay tuned with the Australian Good Food Guide as well.
Absolutely.
Got some very cool things that we absolutely cannot tell you about now.
Not even if you probe us, we won't break.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe not tonight, but we'll see what happens with that. Maybe backstage we'll have to have a bit of a chat about this.
Yeah. No. So and then we've there's a few Tasmanian supporters who have come on. Hearts Water, Par Avion. Adam, help me out here. I'm
Pennicott Wilderness Journeys.
Pennicott Wilderness Journeys. So, these guys have, helping us in terms of us executing. They've given us some great gear that we'll be raffling off or auctioning off, to raise funds for Lifeline. They're helping us, as Adam mentioned, in terms of things like fuel and access. So, lots happening here. So we probably should.
That's really exciting. Can I? You didn't go into detail, and it's okay if you can't. It's all right if you can't right now. But you mentioned BCF, and they're coming on board. They're going to be sponsors. What sort of support is coming through with BCF? Are they giving you fishing rods? So you can go fishing, or
it's a lot of safety gear that we obviously need to include for our trip. But they've actually been really generous in giving us some vouchers that we're looking forward to giving away to our community and raffling off to raise more money for Lifeline as well. So stay tuned. We'll be doing posts leading up to and during the actual event for that as well. So obviously one of the main goals is to raise as much money as we can for Lifeline. And if you're watching this video back, we encourage you to go to the website where you can donate. We understand that probably won't happen immediately, but certainly once the trip gets underway, we're obviously wanting to get some momentum there as well.
Yeah.
So please donate whatever you can. You can donate from as little as a couple of bucks.
Hey, speaking of donating, if you don't like donating, that's okay, because some people don't.
Yep.
We actually have a swag shop set up, so you can go and buy a hat or a towel or a thong,
or two thongs.
We charge extra for that.
No, I think they come in a pair.
Yeah, 2 left feet, right feet.
Yeah.
I think that it's important that you do qualify the fact that this is footwear we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Matt. So all the proceeds from the shop are going to Lifeline. So if you don't want to donate, if you need a new hat, the Coast Around cap is pretty cool. Go over there, check it out. You can do a little bit. You can show your support. And of course, if you have donated and you still want to buy a cap, please go and buy the cap. Please support us. Please do all those sorts of things. We certainly won't go, oh, look at all those people who bought swag. They're obviously non-donators.
You got Christmas coming up too. So
yeah,
that's right.
Kids love. There's great kids selection there. If Santa is shot for ideas.
I think next time we do one of these, we're going to have to all be wearing the merch.
Sure. It's on its way.
Yeah, we have to be doing that. There's no doubt about it. We got to show people what it looks like and just how cool this stuff is.
Well, there's a surprise. Heard it here first. I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing next time for sure. No, look, I think this has been brilliant, and it is an extraordinary journey, and it's a great thing for us to all be a part of. I know I can speak on behalf of Lifeline Darling Downs, and having been in conversations, of course, with Lifeline Tasmania, as you guys have, I know I can speak on their behalf as well. But it's just exciting to be a part of this adventure with you. But we're incredibly thankful for the opportunity to be a part of the conversation that's taking place as well. As I know many of the other groups are that you're engaging with as well out there in the broader community. One of the things I just want to say as we are really coming to the close of our conversation is that, talking about mental health is one of the most important things that we can do. Because as we talk about mental health, as we have conversations around mental well-being and our emotional well-being, it actually starts to, demystify. It starts to destigmatize it. Because one of the things that stops people from talking about it, one of the things that deepens sometimes the issues around mental illness and mental well-being is that people feel stigmatized. They feel like it's a bad thing. I'm a bad person. I shouldn't be feeling this way. This is not normal. I just want to mention that today, actually, it is normal. Everyone has up times and everyone has down times. We want to encourage you that if you are listening to this, and we have only really a little bit talked about mental health and mental well-being, if at all you're struggling, if at all you need some help, then you can reach out to Lifeline anytime that you want on 13 11 14. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Reach out to Lifeline, and our counsellors are there to support you. That's what we're there to do. And of course, anywhere you are in the country, or almost everywhere you are in the country, you can reach out to a local Lifeline centre and a bunch of other support agencies as well who are there to help you out. And we just want to thank these fellas for including us in their journey. You saw before, there's a way you can donate to support those who are doing it tough. But if you yourself are doing it tough, or you know someone who is, and you need some advice and some understanding around what you can do to be of support to them, please call Lifeline on 13 11 14, and we'll be there with you all the way through your journey, just like we're with these guys on theirs.
Wonderful. That's awesome, Matt. Couldn't have said it better.
No worries. Look, guys, I know that we probably, we do aim around about an hour. We're about an hour and 10. Thanks for letting us in on the secrets there. Shane, all of those interesting little tidbits, the new sponsors that are coming on board. To BCF, thanks so much for your support. It's incredible that you're coming on board to make all that happen. And who was the other one that you just talked about before? I've got a brain like a sieve. What was that?
Telstra.
Telstra. Oh, yeah, that's right.
A small, mostly unknown Australian telco. They're really just, they're a challenger brand trying to just get their name out there, Matt.
Yeah. It's hard to remember who they are, really. Gosh. But also to those who have come on board already, especially GoPro. Thanks for that. Thanks for the GoPros and doing what you've done. Thanks to everybody so far that's been supportive of what's taken place and everybody that's donated. I just want to say thanks to each one of these fellas. You're absolutely incredible, and your generosity. Actually, people don't realise just how much you're putting into this yourself, and your generosity is incredible. Even though you're wanting to go on an adventure yourself, the fact that you're bringing everybody on the journey with you is pretty cool as well. So thanks to you. And
thanks for your time, Matt.
Thank you.
Really generous.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Nightfall has come and gone. I feel the sun smile on my face. Drive the darkness of doubt away. Let the light fill up your space. Come on, let's take a ride on the ocean tide. Endless horizons we will see. Relax and free your mind. Marvel at what you find. Countless adventures, 'cause we'll be coasting around. Yeah, coasting around. Coasting around. Yeah, coasting around. Feel the breeze by the ocean shore. Feel the waves crash on your feet. Looking out into mystery, wondering who and what we'll meet. So hear how the jet skis roar as we leave the shore. What destination shall it be? The great Australia, explore Tasmania, the little devil we may see. Coasting around, yeah, coasting around. Coasting around, yeah, coasting around. Many smiles with new friends along. Many laughs as days went on. Wish this trip could just carry on. Love to stay but can't for long. Our time here's at an end. It's been fun, my friends. Maybe one day we'll meet again. Across the waves we'll go. Can't do it on our own. It's an adventure on the sea. Coasting around, yeah. Coasting around, coasting around, coasting around. Coasting around, yeah. Coasting around, yeah. Coasting around, yeah. Coasting around.